Good evening. Welcome to the 2020 Alpha Tau Omega Awards Celebration.
Greetings to viewers watching worldwide. Tonight we recognize true merit wherever found within ATO chapters and among ATOs, including the 2020 Thomas Arkle Clark Honorees and the National President's Award honoree. This year's True Merit chapters will be highlighted along with chapters achieving excellence in scholarship, community service, and communication. The men and chapters recognized tonight reaffirm the tenet, ATO leads. From Alpha Tau Omega National Headquarters in Indianapolis, Chief Executive Officer Wynn Smiley.
We're in the lobby of the national headquarters, and because this year presents such a unique situation, we thought it would make this evening a little more interesting to move around to different places here at the National Fraternity headquarters and give everyone a bit of a virtual tour highlighting some of ATO's history. Of course, the main event tonight is hearing how chapters measured up during a pretty normal fall and anything but normal spring semester. I will say the judges of the chapter's annual reports were generally impressed that chapters found ways to be creative and productive during the spring semester. I think that speaks to ATO's DNA and you and your brother's ability to embrace some difficult circumstances. As you'll hear in a few minutes, National President Hal Wallace talks about the makeup of leadership during tough times. Clearly, this is a very different event, and we're going to take advantage of that change in format, but we're also going to try and bring many of the traditional elements this evening, including hearing from our National Chaplain, Comforted Keene.
I am so pleased, so proud because of my young brothers. And I celebrate you and your good work and your great effort. I have a life scripture that's guided me for my whole Christian life. It's Ephesians 3:20, and it says this, "Now glory be to God by his mighty power at work within us." And I say me. When I let the Lord work in and through me, Ephesians 3:20 says he can do more than I can ever ask or imagine, beyond my highest prayers, desires, thoughts, and hopes. And I can think and hope, y'all. The scripture says God can do more in and through us than we can possibly conceive of, imagine. And what you're doing, what's coming through you for the fraternity in and through your life. Good on you. Bless you. Peace be with you.
So let's get started with our first awards this evening. Excellence Awards are ATO's primary data-driven award for specific areas of chapter operations. Chapters will be recognized for one or a combination of the following. Excellence in recruitment. Chapters qualify if they recruited above ATO's average number of pledges or new members for the year. The number of pledges or new members comprises at least 35% of the chapter. The chapter retained 85% of their new members or pledges, and they recruited more this year than the previous year. Excellence in scholarship. Chapters achieving a cumulative 3.0 grade point average or higher for the academic year. Excellence in communication. The chapter is top 15 in Roadshow. More than 1,000 followers on the chapter's social media platforms, and judges reviewing the chapter's annual report scored the chapter in the top tier for communication. Excellence in impact philanthropy. More money raised than the national ATO chapter average, more money per man than the national per man average, and more money raised than the previous year. Excellence in elevate philanthropy. More service hours than the national ATO per chapter average, more service hours per man than the national ATO per man average, and more service hours by the chapter than the previous year. A record number of ATO chapters earned a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or higher. Not only do we congratulate the men of these chapters for excellent work, we also honor ATO's top 2 scholarship chapters. The runner-up for ATO top scholarship is Duke with a 3.651, and the 2020 top scholarship chapter is Beta Pi at Vanderbilt University with a 3.729.
I think everyone in the chapter grew in their appreciation, at least if not in appreciation, in their understanding of what we are blessed with. So that was good. And then obviously, just like every semester, everyone got their free tutoring if they needed it. Everyone had great meals. Everyone had really good fellowship within the house. Everyone was safe. Everyone, as many people as wanted to be involved on campus, still the older mentoring. So we kept doing that, but I am proud of really showing off to the members what we do have, and I think people appreciate it now.
The portraits of our three founders, Marshall, Glazebrook, and Ross, hang here in the lobby. All three men focused on their various communities, even Marshall, who died at such a young age. Community service has always been an important mission for ATO, and that includes our ATO chapters. Signature events is what our chapters call their community service. Chapters organizing to help a local, national, or international worthy cause not only directly helps the people who has experienced benefits from ATO's efforts, but signature events also help keep chapters focused outwardly, engaging everyone in the chapter, working together, and prompting chapter and signature event leaders to think a little outside of the box. The Erskine Mayo Ross Impact Award recognizes chapters that raise money for worthy causes. Clemson ATO's competition-based event includes people from the campus and community who compete in backyard sporting events. The chapter raised more than $38,000 for the Upstate Warrior Solution and is a new record for campus fundraising efforts. Alabama Beta Delta raised more than $45,000 for several organizations on campus and in the Tuscaloosa community. The Beta Delta chapter has a long-standing history of working diligently to give back to the community in meaningful and impactful ways. This year, Troy Kappa Beta delivered another successful Walk Hard signature event. Brothers raised more than $62,000. They made the nearly 130-mile walk from Troy to Panama City Beach during spring break. The Gamma Omega chapter at Penn State continues to have great success with the women of Zeta Tau Alpha and their long-standing Thon partnership. ATO raised more than $120,000 for cancer research. Good Samaritan Elevate Awards recognize chapters whose members work giving charitable hours to a worthy cause. This year, men of Alabama BIRMINGHAM gave more than 2,600 hours through various service events, most notably the chapter's weekly Taw Tuesdays. The men of Theta Pi chapter at Alabama Huntsville gave more than 3,000 hours through their work at various service events. The chapter strives for involvement in the community to spread the love and respect that is foundational to ATO. The men of Alpha Epsilon chapter at Auburn University gave more than 3,700 hours through their work at various service events, including their involvement in the Impact, which works with new students to find opportunities on campus. The men of Alpha Omega chapter at the University of Florida gave more than 4,700 hours through their work at various service events, including participation in Florida's Dance Marathon. Even though COVID restrictions forced the cancellation of the actual event, planning for it led to 1,000 combined hours of community service for the chapter.
I think another way outside of just, all the funds that we raised for the veterans, I think a really big way that our chapter succeeded was maintaining relationships through coronavirus. Even though we were away, I think even though that we couldn't be together, physically in the house or having meetings and things like that, I think we were still able to be successful in a lot of avenues because of people's individual drive and care for ATO that was not just contingent on being together.
We'll hear from our national president, Hal Wallace, in a few minutes. Hal represents one of more than 1,000 volunteers who support ATO through their time. The majority of our volunteer strength comes from ATO alumni, faculty, parents, and community leaders who make up our chapter's boards of trustees. These men and women advise chapter officers throughout the course of the year and make a difference for our chapters. Thank you to all of our BOT members. Thanks also to ATO host institution vice presidents for student affairs and especially the fraternity and sorority advisors on campus. They offer expertise and tremendous support to our chapters and brothers. I also want to thank the national officers, members of the National Fraternity Board of Directors, Richmond Property Group Board of Directors, and the Foundation Board of Governors for their continued hard work to support the efforts and the mission of the fraternity. Special thanks to General Counsel Coble Caperton and National Ritual Counselor John Potts, who spent hundreds of hours each year on the work for the fraternity and never send us a bill. Thank you to parents who are watching and support your son's membership and effort in ATO. I sent out a letter to parents a couple of weeks ago with a message that not only does ATO provide a strong community at a time when loneliness and isolation seem to be a growing issue for people, but also that there is plenty of research repeatedly reporting the many benefits of being part of the Greek system, including, to name one, being more likely to graduate and graduate on time. Finally, let me say thank you to our chapter presidents and all of ATO's undergraduate officers. These men are investing time as volunteers to help make their chapters stronger and provide the best possible ATO experience for their chapter mates. As you can appreciate, ATO officers gain a lot of experience in leadership through their experiences, but that doesn't make their jobs any easier. Tonight is all about celebrating the hard work and successes of ATO leaders across the nation.
ATO's added a lot of value to my life, honestly. I know that my best friends for the rest of my life are guys I met here.
I have specific mentors that have kind of guided me along the path that I'm currently on, and it's really been helpful to have that support from ATO as a whole.
This experience crafts and molds the future leaders of our societies around us. It's been such an impactful and positive experience.
We're learning leadership skills and how we can be a more effective leader based on other people's needs and how they show themselves to us.
So when you get a myriad of different views and a whole lot of different experiences and sort of put them together, you sort of start to understand not only yourself and the world, but the people around you better, and it gives you better context to understand humanity.
Being able to come into a small room with guys that are from around the country that are also my brothers is just one in a million.
Whether the cameras are on or not, I'm really thankful for both of you.
One of the privileges of being national president is honoring someone who has been dedicated to ATO in exceptional ways. ATO for a lifetime does not begin to capture the work and dedication of past President Award honorees. The first award was given in 1976 to Bert Sams, someone who nearly 45 years ago had distinguished himself, but who, to this day, remains a dedicated ATO volunteer, personal mentor to me, Board of Trustees Chairman of the Tennessee chapter. The list of President Award winners include ATO luminaries including Amos Burns of Alabama, former Executive Director Steve Siders of Purdue, Mark Mullinex from Missouri, Colonel Bill Berry of Mississippi, Coble Caperton of Rhodes, Greg Hall of Oklahoma, and last year, Jerry Papazian of Southern California. The legacies of these men and many others over the years have made up in part by what they did for the fraternity, how they strengthened our beloved brotherhood. Not coincidentally, I would venture that to a man, each would say ATO gave them more, impacted them more than they gave ATO. This brotherhood is infinitely more than just a 4-year undergraduate experience. The 2020 President Award honoree fits right in with his predecessors, the accomplishments and love of ATO. He joined the Delta Alpha chapter at Indiana University in 1973 at a time when fraternities were struggling on campus across the country. As soon as he got involved, he was a strengthening force within his chapter. As an undergraduate during the energy rationing of the early 70s, he was the chapter's environmental consciousness, not shy about helping his brothers do their part in conserving resources. After graduating from Indiana University, he became involved with the National Fraternity and served as the worthy Grand Usher for the National Fraternity in 1986. 10 years later, after working with Bill Muir as a National Ritual Counselor, in 1996, John H. Potts was appointed National Ritual Counselor, a position he has held without interruption. Among Brother Potts' notable moments as National Ritual Counselor was overseeing the honor initiates of, among others, Otis Allen Glazebrook's descendants, the former presidents of Illinois State and Taylor University, Papa John founder John Schnattner, John, affectionately known as Doc, has also helped countless chapters with their initiations and has participated in hundreds of chapter charterings. It's my pleasure to present John H. Doc Potts, Indiana 73, with the 2020 ATO President's Award.
We just wanted to get you on the line to tell you that you're going to be the recipient.
I am overwhelmed and a bit humble, considerably humble, thank you. Goodness. To have assisted, I believe it probably is 13 and maybe even close to 14 worthy Grand Chiefs that I've had the pleasure to work with. Obviously with Wynn as CEO for many years. The incredible number of brothers that I still maintain contact with because they're part of my life now as something that I would never have imagined if I hadn't set foot into the first step of my initiation and learned about the ritual of our fraternity and what it offers to young men in 1865 and still does perhaps as strongly today worldwide.
I think you know this, but I think very highly of you. I think that you're going to be probably the most successful person I ever, meet.
I feel like we're really different people, but together we can do so much.
It really opened up my eyes to see a strong leader that's not just my brother.
So one of the coolest things was like pledging semester. Whenever we would just hang out in 302.
Yeah.
We were like, we're going to be president and vice president of this chapter.
Yep. Obviously, I think I'm not the only one. We can go back to the chapter, and I think everyone else would say it too. You're the definition of a true tall.
You may have thought that I'm always helping you, or I helped you through a lot of things, but in reality, we've been helping each other throughout this whole time. And it's really been a great experience for me because I'm not always stressed and you're not always stressed, and we really can share a really unique bond that goes far beyond just ATO, but a true brotherhood that I can look on years and years down the road.
It's had such an awesome impact on my life, Cade. You and ATO both have really helped me develop a lot as a person and as a leader, and thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Whether the cameras are on or not, I'm really thankful for both of you.
We didn't even know each other before college, and now I can't even remember a time before our friendship.
I only hope that your recruitment and rush team are as successful as those who recruited the two of you and your pledge class. We'll be in great shape.
Love you guys. Love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you too, man.
Love and respect.
Love you, brother.
In the lobby, next to the founders' portraits, is a display that includes the official story of the founding of Alpha Tau Omega. Otis Allen Glazebrook was asked to memorialize his recollection of exactly how the fraternity started. His original memo is included in the display, which is transcribed so anyone coming to headquarters can read the story. Certainly in its 150-plus year history, ATO has weathered many storms. So has every ATO chapter and many ATO undergraduates. And it's in that light that we come to our next set of awards. For those in hurricane country, the term storm strap may be familiar. For everyone else, a storm strap is a thin strip of metal that's used in housing construction to fortify the building from hurricane force winds. We thought this was a great metaphor that describes brothers who serve as a human storm strap for other brothers, their chapter, or the greater community. It's my pleasure to present the 2020 ATO Storm Strap recipients. During this brother's 3-month-long presidency, he accomplished more than some hoped to in a year. The chapter had been a consistently true merit chapter. However, things began to change when the president stepped down. To make matters worse, his replacement also quit just weeks into the position. Seeing the leadership need, this brother stepped up and took over the reins. Under his leadership, the chapter was able to stop the downward trend and recruit one of the largest pledge classes in its history. The men also maintained and excelled in the chapter's health and safety program. All of this was due to Constantino's efforts to maintain excellence when the cards were stacked against him. His steadfast attitude and caring personality is why Konstantinos Surivas of Western Michigan Iota Upsilon chapter is a 2020 Storm Strap recipient. In December of 2019, the Zeta Eta chapter at Texas Tech lost brother Brandon Saye in a tragic car accident. In times of tragedy within a chapter, it's imperative to have vocal leaders to unify the chapter to help men weather the storm. Losing a brother is one of the hardest things a chapter can go through, but it can be especially tough for those closest to Brandon. Chris grew up with Brandon and helped recruit him into ATO. Serving as a mentor to Brandon throughout his new member education period, they built a strong bond through the fraternity. After hearing about the loss, Chris knew he had a responsibility to Brandon and to the chapter. He stepped up as the liaison between the chapter and Brandon's family and came up with ways to honor Brandon. For remaining steadfast and brave during tough times, we're proud to present a 2020 Storm Strap Award to Chris Wojcierski, Texas Tech of the Zeta Eta chapter. This chapter president inherited a large amount of debt and immediately upon election and attendance at President's Retreat, took the proper steps to sit down with his leadership consultant and director of chapter services to clean up roster mistakes and start the process of getting the debt paid down. Colson engaged the rest of his executive board and created a shift in mentality for the rest of the chapter. He utilized the judicial board and improved communication with the national fraternity to solve the debt problem and put his chapter in a better position to succeed in the future. We talk about chapter presidents who set the tone for the chapter as one of ATO's 5 vitals for exceptional chapter operations. Colson embodies this vital. Congratulations to Colson Armacost of the Gamma Iota chapter at UC Berkeley. As chapter president, this brother dealt with a tumultuous term. Even before his presidency, he had been working to realign the chapter culture with the beliefs that Alpha Tau Omega stands for. As president, he made a stand to reshape the chapter's new member education process. Running into some opposition, he remained focused on his end goal of creating a healthy experience for all and a chapter that would be built to last. Engaging his executive board in the conversation, they began to talk about how together they could make changes. It began with utilizing the judicial board to tighten things back up. Though some of these decisions were difficult, sometimes even unpopular, this chapter president knew that holding your brothers accountable was important for chapter success. Congratulations to Leighton Steff of the Epsilon Omicron chapter at Oklahoma State University. Will Brooks will forever be known as a great friend and an even better brother. Sadly, Will was in a Christmas week car accident that took his life. His childhood friend and ATO brother Sawyer was in the same accident and thankfully recovered. Sawyer had to deal with the emotional loss of Will and had to lean on his chapter at Kappa Beta for support. Sawyer stood in for Will at his posthumous initiation, an emotional night for all associated with Kappa Beta. Thanks to chapter leadership from 2019 and 2020, Sawyer was able to honor his friend and brother and still does to this day. We can look to our creed and hold this close to our hearts, with a bond as strong as right itself and as lasting as humanity. Because of his courage and exemplary values of brotherhood, we honor Sawyer McCullough as a 2020 Storm Strap honoree. Hal Wallace is a great example of ATOs for a lifetime. From the time Hal joined the Alpha Omega chapter at the University of Florida in 1974, he's been a part of ATO, and ATO has been a part of him. After graduation, Hal worked in higher education and then moved to the corporate world. Today, he's CEO of one of the largest pallet companies in the country. Hal has served ATO almost continuously since leaving college, including serving on the Alpha Omega Board of Trustees, the Leadership Board of Directors, the ATO Foundation Board of Governors, the National Fraternity Board of Directors, and now, of course, as National President. It's my honor to introduce Hal Wallace as ATO's National President.
Greetings, brothers. Well, I'd much prefer to be in fellowship with you personally in Louisville. It's hard not to feel a bit like a pioneer as I speak at the first virtual ATO Congress. I chuckled a bit wondering what founder Otis Allen Glazebrook would have thought of this, beaming through the air to hundreds of brothers around this large country, marveling at the way things are done in these days and times. In 1880, Glazebrook hosted a Congress at his home in Macon, Georgia. The fraternity was just 15 years old, its future far from certain, and I think the Congress was designed to give the fraternity a second wind. We know that Brother Otis had brushed up the ritual we still use and cherish, as well as authored a creed which we still live by. He was 15 years into his adult life, married with children, the dynamic rector of a thriving church. And by then, I think he had been road testing the principles we hold dear. By then, he had seen enough to know that he would stand the test of ages to come. He was learning the power of seeking and adhering to the truth. He was appreciating the wisdom of living a life of virtue, which allowed him to be a faithful husband, a supportive father, an inspirational churchman, and an effective community leader. He was discovering that loving others unconditionally led one to a life of meaning and joy. He was discovering that if he led with love, he could not fail. So by 1880, I believe that Alpha Tau Omega Creed flowed from his heart unabated. He knew that he was on the path to a good life. He knew that he could commend a life living the creed without reservation. I'm older now. My gray COVID beard proves my seniority. But reflecting on Glazebrook causes me to share this insight. If I'm candid, I would tell you that I joined ATO looking for some people who would help me sort through the loneliness of my arrival at college while having a little fun. When I was rushing, not one person told me that I was going to love the ritual and the creed of Alpha Tau Omega, that it would provide a guide for living a good life. I suspect you had a similar experience. If I'm candid, I figured this fraternity would be another experience that contributed to my path toward adulthood, but it would be something I put down as I moved from college to adulthood and pursued my life in the world. Obviously, 46 years later, I haven't found that to be the case. In my opinion, to not take on ATO as a lifelong experience is to squander one of the greatest gifts you'll ever receive. My advice is to adjust your expectation about what Alpha Tau Omega can mean for you and embrace it in a deeper and more substantial way, right now, right here. Let's return to Glazebrook a minute. What would he say to you in the midst of this season of strife and uncertainty that we're experiencing in 2020? I think he'd tell you that he had seen worse. He might describe his role as a combatant in the Civil War, the experience of fighting against fellow citizens, and the sight of friends and classmates dying savagely on the field of war that would profoundly affect his worldview and be a catalyst for the fraternity we are today. He might describe for you the challenge of being an agent of reconciliation in our broken country, how his approach as a peacemaker and a friend to all, whatever their background or heritage, tested his mettle. It is doubtless that his view of binding a country together after such a divisive war was viewed by many as naive and bore criticism. Maybe he would describe living through the trial of the Spanish flu in 1918, where 675,000 Americans died, while at the same time the Great World War I was coming to an end, where he saw 4 million neighbors mobilized and more than 100,000 killed. Or perhaps he would describe the Great Depression as it commenced in 1929 and devastated the lives of millions of friends and neighbors for the rest of his life. Or maybe he described the tension of being the first U.S. diplomat to Jerusalem or a diplomat in post-war Europe. Our brother Glazebrook had experienced, seen, and done a lot, much of it in the circumstances we wouldn't want to repeat, and he indeed had seen worse. And I think he would say to you, this is a perfect situation for men like us. I heard in a podcast recently a leader consultant named Tim Kite describe what leaders do. He was describing the way someone had responded to a workplace emergency. He said, leaders run to the mess, not from it. Leaders get in the mess, not shy from it. Leaders stay in the mess until it isn't a mess anymore. The messes are all around us today. There are people depressed with lack of job prospects. There are people grieving the loss of loved ones. There are folks who aren't sure about the future. and it drives them toward depression and hopelessness. People are wondering if we will survive. And the maladies, the tensions, and the challenges we face roll on, and Brother Glazebrook would remind us that these are times perfect for men like us. Men who understand the power of binding together to build or restore. Men who are willing to put aside politics for the sake of doing what is good and moral. Men who recognize the strengths in every one they encounter and are a catalyst to make those strengths matter. Men who will run to the mess, get in the mess, stay in the mess, no matter how long it takes or how far it stretches. If he were here right now, I believe Glazebrook would tell you, live the creed every day. It'll make a difference in the brokenness you encounter. And through it, you will become a source of hope and an agent of reconciliation that give you a great joy and satisfaction. There is a new word on the horizon for the members of Alpha Tau Omega. We believe every person has a destiny in the world, and we know that most people miss out on discovering it because they aren't taught or shown what your pursuit of destiny can mean. As we move ahead in the years to come, we will endeavor to help you see it, pursue it, and experience. That's the life promise of Alpha Tau Omega. I love you and respect you. I wish the very best for you. You were made for a time such as this. Embrace it and make a difference.
At the conclusion of the 2014 Congress in Orlando, we rolled out 2 ATO wrapped Jeep Grand Cherokees and kicked off ATO's 150th anniversary celebration. During the next 12 months, the Jeeps traveled more than 60,000 miles, stopping at every ATO chapter. Each Jeep hood has the signatures of each chapter president, national officers, and other ATO luminaries. We sent the Jeeps back, but we kept the hoods, which are now displayed here behind me at National Headquarters. Now we have the opportunity to celebrate chapters that had exceptionally good years with communicating to their various constituencies, mainly through social media, and that conducted successful public relations media campaigns for an event or events. The Road Race Award recognizes the chapter that submitted the most positive news about what their chapter and its brothers were doing throughout the year. Each event submitted is validated and then given points. The chapter with the most points at the end of the year is the winner. The 2020 Road Race winner, Northern Kentucky, the Theta Omega chapter. Now our top 3 communication awards. The Bronze Award goes to the Eta Psi chapter of West Florida. The chapter charged its communication efforts and added a ton of new followers to its social media accounts by having high-quality content that engaged stakeholders. The Silver Communication Award goes to the Kappa Beta chapter at Troy University. The men of Kappa Beta used social media effectively to promote their successful signature event, Walk Hard. Our Gold Award recognizes the best chapter's communication efforts. Congratulations to Beta Delta, the University of Alabama. The chapter used professional marketing practices to highlight individual and chapter achievements and effectively engaged on all the chapter's social media platforms. Congratulations to all of our Communication Award-winning chapters.
The brothers became closer than I thought they would, being disconnected. There's group texts, group Snapchats, guys that play video games together, guys that Zoom call together, some that are roommates that live together that are able to still do stuff with brothers. It's given a lot of guys an outlet over this past few uncertain months to vent or to just have fun, because when you're sitting at your house with nothing to do, all you have to do is pick up your phone and you can talk to any one of the brothers in the chapter.
Here at one of our display cases, some of Thomas Arkle Clark's personal effects, including his Bible and a number of books he wrote on the nature of the college man. Dr. Clark was a well-respected professor of rhetoric at the University of Illinois, and by the turn of the 20th century was nationally known within higher education as the nation's first dean of men. According to the ATO story, Thomas Arkle Clark had by 1908 already achieved fraternity prominence. Years later, he would serve as the fraternity's worthy Grand Chief and be known as one of its greatest leaders. Dr. Clark's character, leadership, and devotion to ATO led the fraternity to name its highest individual graduating senior award after him. And now, our 2020 Thomas Arkle Clark honorees. Our first honorable mention honoree is Parker Truelove from the University of Tennessee Pi Chapter. Parker earned a 4.0 in mechanical engineering and was named Campus President of the Year as ATO President. In his application, he says the greatest gift that Alpha Tau Omega has given him is the understanding that our world is comprised of unique people with different personalities, each molded by their individual experiences with stories that deserve to be heard and valued. Our next Thomas Arkle Clark honorable mention honoree, Jack DeBow of Clemson University. He lives by the motto, if you're not making someone else's day better, you're wasting your time. Jack served in a number of positions within his chapter and was Clemson's Tigerama director, the nation's second largest homecoming pep rally. Jack was also a member of the Blue Key Honor Society, the IPTAY Student Advisory Board, FCA, and Clemson Club's wrestling team. Ryan Barishian of the University of Alabama Huntsville is our next Thomas Arkle Clark honorable mention honoree. Ryan earned his degree in physics, where his research experience included jellyfish galaxy classification. Ryan served in a number of chapter positions, including chapter president. In a letter of recommendation, Ryan was described as someone who always worked to set goals and help the chapter stretch as far as it could grow. During his presidency, the chapter was awarded both True Merit and the Best Fraternity Chapter at UAH. Ryan says, being encouraged by Alpha Tau Omega to challenge myself and become a leader on campus gave me a sense of belonging to a place where I initially thought I would not be accepted because I was an outsider. Our next Thomas Arkle Clark honorable mention honoree, Luke Wheeler from Westchester University, who graduated with a degree in economics and finance. Luke grew up and struggled as he went in and out of a number of schools on the west side of Philadelphia. Luke says coming to Westchester was a complete culture shock that did not engage him as a student. He wrote that when he first came to Westchester, joining a fraternity was the last thing he had on his mind. Once he joined ATO, however, he was determined to leave a legacy, which he did. In her letter of recommendation, Jennifer Rossi Long said Luke was always interested in ways to develop his career path, more so than any other student she worked with. During his senior year, he developed a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce to connect the Chamber and its professional development track to the Westchester fraternity and sorority community. Our next Thomas Arkle Clark honorable mention honoree, Leighton Steff of Oklahoma State University. Leighton earned his degree in business administration. Leighton served on Oklahoma State University's Executive Leadership Council, was IFC Internal Vice President, ATO Chapter President, Membership Education Coordinator, Recruitment Chairman, and Alumni Relations Officer, where he helped raise $14,000 for the local YMCA. As Chapter President, Leighton demonstrated exceptional leadership in very difficult circumstances in which he sacrificed his personal comfort to do the right thing. The 2020 Thomas Arkle Clark honoree runner-up is Jim Kovach of Marietta College. In his application, Jim wrote, "I am the man I am today because of this fraternity." That is a potent statement given Jim's exceptional personal record. He was a captain of the Marietta track and field team for 4 years. Jim was named Marietta's MVP of the year. He was an All-American pole vaulter, Marietta indoor and outdoor collegiate record holder for pole vaulting, all this while earning a 3.8 GPA in petroleum engineering. His athletic achievements did not come without struggle. Jim broke both of his ankles, which led to a crisis of confidence. He writes, "I feared pole vaulting. Being afraid of what you love the most was something that damaged my entire psyche. I spoke with brothers, coaches, and professional pole vaulters, and what I learned from them is to enjoy the journey and not the results." Jim also served his chapter as Vice President, Secretary, Scholarship Chairman, and Historian. National President Hal Wallace will now introduce the 2020 Thomas Arkle Clark honoree.
Giving his strongest recommendation, Dr. Jameson Keller of Georgia Tech wrote that Andrew demonstrated what it means to be an outstanding graduating senior. Starting in the thankless job of IFC Social Patrol, Andrew utilized what he observed not to play gotcha with undergraduate fraternity members, but to help chapter leaders implement safer and more responsible policies while still having fun. His success there and later as IFC Public Relations Chairman earned him the respect of the Georgia Tech fraternity community, leading to his election as IFC President. During his term, he worked to gain buy-in from 30 fraternities on campus to adopt the NIC Hard Alcohol-Free Directive, which produced a 50% drop in hospitalizations due to alcohol. As ATO chapter president, Andrew accepted the challenge to help some within his chapter to revise their expectations of ATO at Georgia Tech. Andrew led the effort to craft a new vision for the chapter that spread to the entire IFC community. He has reached out and built extra social capital for the chapter on campus. Beta Iota BOT Chairman Chris Johnson said, "Andrew's been the most impactful ATO brother we've had come through Georgia Tech in 5+ years. I've been on the BOT. He has a passion for ATO, and he put a ton of his time and energy into making our organization better. His personality is that if he is going to get involved with an organization, he learns everything he can about it and then works his way up to the highest level of leadership to provide the greatest impact. He is a great leader." In addition to his interfraternal and ATO work on campus, Andrew was involved in several other student organizations, most notably the nationally regarded Georgia Tech Career Fair Executive Board, where he served for 4 years, eventually becoming its president. Andrew was responsible for leading the nation's largest student-run career fair, engaging 350 companies and a $350,000 annual budget over a 2-day experience on campus. After earning his degree in mechanical engineering with a 3.51 GPA, Andrew moved to Pittsburgh to work for Rockwell Automation. Not surprisingly, Andrew has already launched an employee resource group at Rockwell that targets retention and development of newly hired talent and has taken a leadership position with the Georgia Tech Alumni Association of Pittsburgh. In his application, Andrew wrote, "I am proof of ATO's ability to change the lives of young men. My experience during college with my chapter prepared me for the rest of my life in the way my coursework could not. I would not have been as successful without ATO. I would not be as confident and prepared for future leadership roles without ATO. And I would not be a man I am today without ATO. And I'm proud to introduce to you Andrew J. Kahn as your 2020 Thomas Arkle Clark Honoree."
It is truly an honor to receive this award on behalf of my brothers in the Beta Iota chapter. I wouldn't have been able to accomplish a fraction of the things I did during my undergraduate career without their continued support, so this one goes out to the fellas back at 205 4th Street. I wish I could be speaking to you all under different circumstances, but as COVID continues to spread throughout our communities, the decision for this ceremony to go digital was made with the safety of our friends, families, and brothers in mind. I'm so proud of the National Fraternity for making the health-conscious decision, and from the bottom of my heart, I hope that you and yours are staying safe during these crazy times. When I received word from WIN that I was to be the 2020 Thomas Arkle Clark Honoree, it was the last piece of news I expected that day. During the application process, I researched not only Thomas Arkle Clark himself, but the brothers of ATO who had won this award before me, and to stand shoulder to shoulder with both the previous honorees and this year's applicants is an absolute privilege and an honor. In my chapter, the Thomas Arkle Clark Award was something of legend, something that we only learned about during our pledge semester because the last honoree from Georgia Tech was in 1947, and as freshmen, it didn't seem like any of us would win one anytime soon. In the days following the call from WIN, I had a lot of time to think through my fraternity journey and all the growing I did as an undergrad. How did I go from entering college knowing this award was a pipe dream to sitting before you here today? I can only point to my chapter brothers. One of the many reasons I was drawn to my chapter during Rush was the leadership and impact that they had on campus and in the Greek community. In that moment I chose to pledge Alpha Tau Omega, I was not just choosing my lifelong friends, but also the men that I wanted to emulate as I developed. I'm the product of a broken home. and I am not ashamed to admit that I viewed many of my older brothers as my main role models throughout college. I entered Georgia Tech as an immature 18-year-old, but through the support and guidance I received from my Alpha Tau Omega brothers, I graduated not just with a degree, but a more complete, mature man. I can point to two chapter brothers in particular, Travis Hanley and Jake Selesky, that started me down the path of becoming a leader on campus. My most significant responsibilities during college were the president of Alpha Tau Omega, the president of the Interfraternity Council, and the president of the Georgia Tech Career Fair. All three positions were previously held by Jake and Travis, and because I regarded them so highly, I did everything I could to set myself up for those roles. They were able to guide me down the path to becoming successful, and even after they had graduated, I still relied on their advice. Without their guidance, I am confident that I would not have achieved a fraction of what I did during college, and their mentorship continues even today. They, among others, are without a doubt the reason I have the privilege of giving this speech. As I progressed through my schooling and various leadership opportunities, my focus moved away from my own goals and towards the development of the next generation of ATOs. This award has only solidified to me the importance of having older brothers in your chapter who invest in your development, and so it was only right for me to pass that on. Unlike so many other college organizations, Alpha Tau Omega equips you with the tools and opportunities to make a difference in a young man's life, skills that you will take with you into the rest of your life. I challenge you all to make the most of that opportunity, and my call to action is this. As you move through your own college experience, make sure to look ahead to the brothers who came before you. Take from them their example, their lessons, and their character. But don't forget to look back behind you, because there will always be that freshman, certain of what they cannot achieve, looking ahead to their brothers for an example of what they can become. In closing, I wanted to thank one more time my brothers, alumni, friends, and family for their continuous support during my undergraduate career. Without you, I know that I would not be sitting here today or be half the man that I am. ATO has blessed me with opportunities that I will be paying forward for the rest of my life, and for that, I could not be more grateful. Thank you.
ATO Leads is not just a marketing phrase. It reflects the fact that ATO chapters and individual TAWs understand that our ATO culture is to not only learn about, practice, and strengthen the skills of effective leadership, but to be in a position to lead regardless of whether a brother is in the spotlight or behind the scenes. Of course, much of that work takes place within each ATO chapter. To support and encourage our brothers' efforts, the National Fraternity delivers a suite of programs and experiences, in many cases supported by generous grants from the ATO Foundation. ATO undergraduates have the opportunity to engage, learn, and execute. Our newest program, still in its pilot phase, is called Men of Destiny. 3 chapters have experienced the initiative and are giving it strong recommendations.
There's an internal need, okay, so people are expressing it. And when we start expressing it in terms like, here's what you're here for, people react. So there is a need. But I also maintain that that when a person understands themselves and that intersects with a lot of the needs of the world, it's that intersection where people find their calling and destiny. And everyone, just about everyone, can relate to that. They just want to know, okay, how can I impact the world? I've worked with professional football players and CEOs and teachers and soccer moms. It has been powerful to watch people step into their calling.
Definitely surpassed any expectations. I think a lot of guys went into this with kind of, I don't know what's going to go on mindset, and came out, everybody's like, we'd do this a million times over. Unbelievable experience.
We're in the process of developing an online version that can be used by an entire chapter, an executive board, a pledge or new member class, or even a group of alumni. First, let me say to those of you who support the ATO Foundation, thank you. Your gifts help make Men of Destiny and the components of the experience, including the Berkman Assessment, possible. Those of you who may have never considered giving to the Foundation, or just never have gotten around to it, the gifts the Foundation receive go to good use in supporting some excellent programs like Men of Destiny that are simply not available through a campus course catalog. Chapter officers, if you think your chapter would be interested in Men of Destiny, let your leadership consultant know.
The great thing is that you see us really putting, or really what you're doing is putting money directly into the values and principles that our fraternity stands for. And it's also, from a financial standpoint, you get to see where your money is going. You get to understand what it's funding. You get to see how you are incrementally making a difference in these programs that the foundation takes care of for ATO National.
I'm standing in front of a series of glass panels. The first one displays the 2019 True Merit Award-winning chapters. True merit, wherever found, is a phrase in the Creed of Alpha Tau Omega, written in 1880 by founder Glazebrook. The four-word phrase highlights the emphasis on excellence the founders intended as an important part of ATO's mission. We now recognize our True Merit and True Merit Honorable Mention chapters. Even though some chapters receiving True Merit Honorable Mention may have a sense of disappointment, the truth is that these organizations have highly functioning chapters that produce excellent experiences for the men in those chapters. Here are ATO's True Merit Honorable Mention chapters for 2020. True Merit chapters have demonstrated excellence in just about all areas of chapter operations and membership engagement. It's not easy leading and running a fraternity chapter. It takes work, dedication, an entrepreneurial attitude, backbone, and men who are willing to lead even when it means making tough decisions. It's my pleasure to announce ATO's True Merit chapters for 2020. Louisiana State University Epsilon Zeta Tigers. This is their second True Merit Bowl. Epsilon Zeta was recognized as 2019 IFC's most outstanding chapter at LSU. The chapter raised $21,000 for Team Gleason with its third annual restaurant showcase. It achieved the highest GPA on campus with a 3.274. Auburn University Alpha Epsilon the Tigers. This is their 11th True Merit Bowl. The chapter had most improved community service involvement from the previous year with more than 700 hours.
With that, we helped out the Boys and Girls Club in Auburn. And with that money, I mean, obviously we didn't know Corona was going to hit this hard and be this long lasting, but that money that we raised for them kind of helped carry them through up to this point.
Ball State University, Theta Alpha, the Cardinals. This is the chapter's 8th True Merit Bowl. The chapter raised more than $31,000 in philanthropy in the 2019-2020 academic year. The chapter introduced Slack, where participation and communication has improved along with attendance going up about 10% with 100% brother involvement in outside organizations on campus. Troy University, Kappa Beta, the Trojans. This is their 13th True Merit Bowl. The chapter expanded on its Walk Hard signature event and added Girls Walk Harder for female students to walk across campus at Troy. The chapter consistently has more than 90% of members attend sessions about drunk driving, dangers of drug and alcohol, and career symposiums about their future jobs. Oklahoma State University, Epsilon Omicron, the Cowboys. This is the chapter's 20th True Merit Bowl. Epsilon Omicron broke its previous recruitment records by bringing in 48 new members this year, with more than 2/3 of them joining through informal recruitment. The chapter volunteered 1,900 service hours this year, with the primary benefactor being Payne County Youth Services. More than 70% of the chapter is involved in other student organizations on campus, including leadership positions within Order of Omega and the Homecoming Council.
My recruitment team is stepping outside of the box, and most of the chapters getting involved in the whole recruitment process, which is good to see. I just feel like everyone is taking a bigger role in what normally they're used to, so I really commend my guys on that.
The College of William and Mary, Kappa Kappa, the Tribe. This is its 6th True Merit Bowl. The chapter was able to raise more than $7,000 even through COVID and virtual efforts for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. The men also have a presence on campus of leaders and have a strong voice in many organizations that lead to a better community experience for students. University of Alabama, Beta Delta, Crimson Tide. This is their 17th True Merit Bowl. The chapter raised more than $45,000 for Children's Miracle Network hospitals through its Bonham Mew signature event, which was the third consecutive year of raising more than $7,000 from the previous academic year. The campus limited the amount of awards a chapter could win on campus. The Beta Delta chapter swept all award categories they could potentially win, including Most Outstanding Fraternity and Outstanding Commitment to Diversity. Iowa State University, Gamma Upsilon, the Cyclones. This is the chapter's 21st True Merit Bowl. The chapter created a new signature event called Tones and Bones. Gamma Upsilon worked with Best Buddies program this year to build connections and relationships with those who have a mental or learning disability. Sanford University, Camp Row, the Bulldogs. This is the chapter's 4th True Merit Bowl. The chapter continued excellence on campus by winning Outstanding Scholarship, Educational Programming Service, PR, and Alumni Relations. Caparro implemented a worship night on campus for brothers to attend, and attendance has continuously risen throughout the past school year. Oregon State University, Alpha Sigma, the Beavers. This is their first True Merit Bowl. The chapter has greatly increased its participation on campus by attending more philanthropy events, as well as giving back to the IFC community and other areas of campus life. These men have also increased the accountability of their members by utilizing their judicial board and have seen an increase in their overall GPA due to utilizing this for members' grades. Purdue University, Gamma Omicron, the Boilermakers. This is its 11th True Merit Bowl. The chapter introduced Omega 1 as its main source of communication and saw a noticeable increase in chapter attendance and communication. Overhauled their recruitment communication by using Chapter Builder as a source of reaching out to PNMs and posting events. The University of Oklahoma, Delta Kappa, the Sooners. This is the chapter's 11th True Merit Bowl. In the fall semester, the men of Delta Kappa worked with the university president to organize a campus-wide racism seminar to try and change the stigma of Greek life at OU. Delta Kappa brought in more than 70 new members this year, with men joining from all over the country. More than 80% of the men at Delta Kappa are involved in at least one other student organization on campus, leading the way as the leadership chapter at OU.
The most important thing to us is like our different philanthropy events. So we did our usual Gator Fest, which is a 5K run, and we ended up donating, I want to say close to $20,000 for our student organization, or our organization that we donate the money to, named CASP, which is an after-school program for kids in the Norman area.
The University of Florida, Alpha Omega, the Gators. This is the chapter's 17th True Merit Bowl. Alpha Omega nearly doubled its spring 2020 recruitment goal with 25 new members recruited as a 13-member goal. The chapter held its second annual Taw Tug Carnival and Concert signature event and raised more than $3,000 and surpassed their philanthropy donation by almost $5,000 from the previous year. The University of Alabama at Birmingham, Theta Phi, the Blazers. This is its 6th True Merit Bowl. The chapter is number 1 in IFC grades for fall 2019. Second closest was a .15 away. The chapter raised more than $8,000 for a local family who has a child with cancer. The chapter partnered with a local church to create a unified Bible study group open to all people in Greek life at UAB. Virginia Tech University, Beta Delta, the Hokies. This is the chapter's 3rd True Merit Bowl. Beta Delta has continued its consistent growth in membership, this year bringing in 51 new members to the chapter. The 129 men achieved an average GPA of 3.225, reaping the benefits of a revamped scholarship program. Beta Delta is a strong supporter of the Women's Resource Center of the New River Valley, hosting philanthropy events and leading various campaigns to bring attention to the issues of sexual assault on college campuses. Washington and Jefferson College, Alpha Pi, the Presidents. This is the chapter's 18th True Merit Bowl. The chapter consistently achieves the highest GPA of all fraternities on campus and is a proven leader for other organizations. When the members see a need to be met for the school, they are always coming up with solutions to meet the need. Western Michigan University, Iota Upsilon, the Broncos. This is the chapter's 4th True Merit Bowl. The chapter increased involvement on campus, which included having 3 members on the Interfraternity Council, recruitment, risk management, and academic chair. Iota Upsilon recruited its largest pledge class in chapter history with 33 new members, signed in the fall 2019. Simpson College, Beta Alpha, the Storm. This is its 9th True Merit Bowl. The chapter overhauled its ritual and brotherhood program, and it greatly improved the internal relationships and structures. Beta Alpha was able to add new strategies to its fall 2019 signature event that helped raise more money for the Hope Ministries of Greater Des Moines. Murray State University, Zeta Lambda, the Racers. This is its 5th True Merit Bowl. Zeta Lambda was awarded Outstanding Brotherhood and Outstanding Philanthropic Chapter by Order of Omega at Murray State. The gentlemen of Zeta Lambda averaged more than 20 service hours per man, even with the shortened spring semester. The chapter revolutionized the way it recruits, with more than 50% of its new members this year joining through informal recruitment.
For the first time in probably 10 plus years, we were awarded from Murray State the Outstanding Brotherhood Award and the Outstanding Philanthropic Award. Basically, the Brotherhood Award is kind of self-explanatory. You know, they considered our fraternity, our chapter on campus, to have the best brotherhood and bonds between each other. And then for the Philanthropic Award, we ended up raising around, I think it was $6,300 from both fall 19 to spring 20.
The University of Maine, Beta Upsilon, the Bears. This is the chapter's 14th True Merit Bowl. This chapter bolstered a 3.35 GPA for the academic year, with 17 brothers receiving Dean's List recognitions. The chapter's involvement on campus can be seen from its involvement in senior skulls, orientation, and student governance. Temple University, Iota Psi, the Owls. This is the chapter's 3rd True Merit Bowl. The chapter's commitment to continuous education of its brotherhood provides each brother the opportunity to partake in professional development workshops. The chapter's leadership has taken great strides to improve relationships with its campus leadership and set up a great foundation to succeed in the future. The University of Missouri, Gamma Rho, the Tigers. This is the chapter's 16th True Merit Bowl. Gamma Rho was able to beat its fall 2019 recruitment goal by 40, recruiting 48 new members with the help of their house manager. To maintain the scholarship achievement, Gamma Rho implemented a program that rewarded pledges, active members, and executive board members for their success in the classroom. The University of Alabama, Huntsville, Theta Pi, the Chargers. This is the chapter's 28th True Merit Bowl. Talks have continued to be revitalized in the chapter. Brothers have experienced new levels in their faith by being baptized and having their brothers present. Due to COVID-19, Theta Pi had to move its signature event, Battle of the Buffalo, to fall 2020, but the chapter has already raised $20,000 and still is continuing its efforts today. The University of West Florida, Eta Psi, the Agronauts. This is their 1st True Merit Bowl. Eta Psi was able to raise more than $6,000 from the 2018-19 school year, took initiatives and started involving NPHC with chapter events, social events, and service events on campus to bring together all of Greek life. It continued to be recognized by the city of Pensacola for its efforts regarding suicide prevention by holding awareness events across campus and the city. Mercer University, Alpha Zeta, the Bears. This is the chapter's 12th True Merit Bowl. The chapter has integrated an excellent rush program to show PNMs the character of their brotherhood by including Bible studies and team building exercises with the whole chapter. The chapter implemented the inaugural ATO Fall Classic baseball game with Kappa Omega at Georgia College and raised $2,000 for the Calvin Johnson Jr. Foundation. Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology, Gamma Gamma, the Fightin' Engineers. This is the chapter's 25th True Merit Bowl. The chapter started a new signature event using Twitch that raised more than $4,000 for the Riley Foundation. It created a mentorship program for the chapter to help maintain a 3.0 GPA for the whole year. It created a BRO officer's position, Brother Relation Officer, to help improve and create unique brotherhood activities for the chapter. University of North Carolina, Charlotte, Lambda Delta, the 49ers. This is the chapter's 1st True Merit Bowl. Lambda Delta was able to recruit 24 members into their Alpha class, 100% involvement of its members in organizations outside of ATO. The chapter created a scholarship named after their brother Drew Pescaro that commends a brother for his leadership, hard work, academics, and fight throughout the semester. Boise State University, Lambda Gamma, the Broncos. This is their 1st True Merit Bowl. The The chapter has created a strong transition program in order to build upon and continue a strong and healthy culture, leading to the chapter's great successes in recruitment, academics, and membership education. The chapter has embraced a weekly devotional to spend time as brothers on a voluntary basis to learn about the founding values of the fraternity and promote brotherhood at the same time.
I mean, me, Matt, Ryan and Joe, and a couple other guys from eBoard have been getting together every once in a while and kind of talking about new ideas and how we're going to use them in the upcoming semester, how to make everything run smoothly and make sure everyone's still feeling connected. But
I'd argue and say that our plan is pretty solid, for now at least.
Yeah.
It's pretty, I wouldn't say it's airtight, but
we're definitely coming up with some creative ways to stay together.
That's good.
I think the biggest thing that we need to do, especially early in this next semester, is really reiterate and preach to the guys coming in, especially the alpha and beta class, that, you know, even though the semesters are going to look a little different, ATO is still going to be a valuable tool for you to use.
Westchester University Kappa Chi, the Golden Rams. This is their first True Merit Bowl. The chapter has performed very well in recruitment, growing to a 100-man chapter this past spring. In addition, the chapter has created a new points system to increase accountability and reduce the potential for apathy among brothers, while also providing support to the community through service hours and events. The University of New Hampshire, Delta Delta, the Wildcats. This is the chapter's third True Merit Bowl. The men exceeded their recruitment goal significantly in the spring semester and have put systems in place to continue that great success moving forward. In addition, the chapter was able to achieve the highest GPA for all fraternities on campus with a 3.57 GPA. Even though this has been a very different, hopefully one-of-a-kind ATO Awards celebration, I hope you've enjoyed the time you've spent with us. There are a lot of lifetime benefits of being an ATO. Hopefully you've seen the fruit of some of those this evening. Even though we're moving into a unique fall semester, I remain encouraged that ATOs will continue to be a connecting force on their campuses and in their communities, reaching out to the ends of the earth, embracing men of every section and every creed. Here's our national chaplain, Comforted Keene, for our benediction.
Lord, thank you that you have called me personally to be an ATO. It came through real, long, lifelong friends, the gift of being an ATO. And Lord, I ask that blessing over these young men, that they would know lifelong friendships, that when they're as old as I am, that they would enjoy the friendships that they enjoy with their brothers in their chapters through our national organization, that they would know the life-giving friendship that can be theirs. And the blessing of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit be upon you and remain with you always, my dear brothers. Amen.
It's been a pleasure. Good night from Indianapolis. Love and respect.